Mini Macro Series Part 4. We have finally reached the last macronutrient. Today we are talking about fat. Fat is essential for the body, it is an essential energy source. Fat provides about 70% of energy for bodily functions at rest and during low intensity exercise. So, very, very important. Fat has more energy than carbohydrates and protein combined. It has 9 calories per gram, so a little bit does go a long way. Fat is stored all over the body. It's in the muscle, in the liver, and in adipose tissue. So it's easy to access it when needed. Fat is important for growth and development. It plays a role in blood clotting, nervous system function, reproduction, hormones, immune response. It's important for healthy hair and skin. It also helps the body absorb fat soluble vitamins like A, E, D, and K. Fat is found in plant foods, in animal foods, and animal products. Too much saturated fat and trans fat can increase cholesterol, which can increase the risk for cardiovascular disease, which is the leading cause of death in the United States. It can also increase the risk for stroke as well. So there are different categories of fat. Total fat includes saturated fat, trans fat, and unsaturated fat. So saturated fat is found in higher proportions in animal products. It's usually solid at room temperature, so you can think of butter. Red meat and dairy products have a high amount of saturated fat. It's also found in like baked goods and fried goods, fried foods. Trans fat is found naturally in small amounts in dairy products, beef, and lamb. And there's no research to show that that naturally found trans fat is harmful, but it's the artificially formed trans fat that is detrimental to health. So, those are partially hydrogenated oils. They have actually been banned by the FDA. So, they were used to increase the shelf life. And when it comes to like fried foods, the oil didn't have to be changed as often as with other oils. So they would use these partially hydrogenated oils. They can no longer use those oils, they're banned from the FDA. Monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats are found in higher proportions in plants. They're usually liquid at room temperature, so you can think of oils like olive oil. Let's dive into the difference between unsaturated and saturated fats. So, unsaturated fats are divided into monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. We're not going to dive too far into the difference between those today, but the unsaturated fats are found in higher proportions in plants. They're liquid at room temperature, and they are a healthier option than saturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats are the best kind of fats because they're higher in omega 3s, and omega 3s can boost heart health by improving cholesterol levels, reducing blood clotting, reducing irregular heartbeats, and they can even slightly lower blood pressure. So, some unsaturated fats include avocados, fish, mayonnaise, most nuts. So, you can think like peanut butter, peanut oil here. Um, Seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, soft margarines, and vegetable oils. Unsaturated fats are also found in animal fats, so fats from chicken, from pork, and from beef. Omega 3s are high in fatty fish like salmon and sardines. So, saturated fat is found in higher proportions in animal products. It's usually solid at room temperature, like butter. Saturated fat is found in animal fats, in baked good, condiments, gravies, dairy products. If you think of whole fat and even 2% reduced fat dairy products have a lot of saturated fats in them. They're found in red meats, in processed meats. You can find them in pizza, salad dressings, sandwiches, things like that. So, how much fat do you need? Well, the USDA recommends 20 to 35% of calories come from fat. The American Association recommends that less than 7% of calories come from saturated fat. So, a majority of our calories should be coming from unsaturated fats. We have that 2000 calorie diet example with that typical macronutrient ratio. In this case, it's 30% fat. If you missed that, you can go back to my YouTube channel and find how to calculate that. The FDA recommends adults consume 78 grams of total fat if they are consuming a 2000 calorie diet. So the US, or excuse me, the American Heart Association recommends that less than 7% of calories come from saturated fat. So let's take 78 grams times zero point 0.7. That equals 54.6 grams. So we want less than 55 grams of fat coming from saturated fats. Fat is very important during exercise, especially light intensity exercise. It is the main energy source. Essential or stored fat is essential for endurance and ultra endurance sports. So the body, at moderate and high intensity exercise is going to opt for carbohydrate. But once the carbohydrate is used up in the blood and the muscles, it's going to go to fat. So having stored fat is essential. Um, when consuming a meal before a workout or after a workout, I tend to limit the amount of fat and prioritize carbohydrates before and after my workout. During my workouts, I'm typically at a moderate or a high intensity. So I know that I'm going to be using mostly carbohydrate source there. So we know that fat is important for normal bodily functions. Excess calories coming from fats, proteins, or carbs can lead to weight gain, which can lead to obesity, which can lead to increased risk for other diseases, such as diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. You can't choose where your body stores fat. And we do need fat. We need fat to protect our organs and especially our reproductive system. It's very, very important. Some people tend to store most of their fat within their abdominal region. Too much of that fat can be dangerous. That's called the visceral fat, the fat that surrounds the organ. So you want that happy medium there. So again, fats are an important energy source. They're important for a healthy body. Unsaturated fats are healthier than trans fats and saturated fats. Those trans fats and saturated fats can increase your risk of developing disease. So it's important to choose healthy options. As always, find what works best for you. Enjoy the foods that you like, but make sure that you're eating the healthy foods as well. Thank you so much for following along during this mini macro series. This is the final part to this series. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Have a happy and healthy day.